Hey, happy Valentine's Day! This movie sucks. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh boy, this was a channel points request, wasn't it? Well, actually, surprisingly no. It was suggested to me by one of my Twitch viewers, Jambo. He told me about it, but this wasn't actually forced on me to do. I did this on my own free will. Do I regret that decision? Well, you bet your sweet Bippy I do. But we're already here, so we might as well talk about it. So Valentine, a 2001 American slasher film which was directed by Jamie Blanks and had a decently all-star cast: Denise Richards, David Boreanaz, Mary Shelton, Jessica Capshaw, and Katherine Heigl. It was very loosely based off a novel by Tom Savage, and it's very interesting because it's basically an 80s slasher film made in 2001. Like, I'm serious, the irony of this movie is hilarious because this movie was basically everything that Scream made fun of, but it also came out after Scream. And I don't even think they were trying to be ironic either. I think they legitimately thought if they brought back a movie that resembled the down years of the slasher genre, maybe they could get like a nostalgia pop from people. And yeah, they didn't really get that. It was critically panned and only made $36.7 million on a $10 million budget. Also, Jamie Blanks, who directed the film, later apologized for making it. So, yeah, that's a yikes. Oh right, I should probably tell you what it's about. Well, it's about a couple of girls in San Francisco being chased around near Valentine's Day by a killer who wears a Cupid mask. And basically, it's pretty obvious throughout the entire movie who the killer is, but they try to make it seem like it's not obvious, but it's super obvious. And also, because he's the killer, he's supposed to be the bad guy, but all the main characters in this movie are awful, and most of them deserve to die. So, I mean, he's not really the bad guy. He's a hell of a lot more sympathetic than they are. But I should probably just explain it to you in long form, so let's do this and let's review Valentine, 2001. Alright, so we kick off in the year 1988 at a middle school Valentine's Day dance. This young kid named Jeremy Melton asks three girls, Shelley, Lily, and Paige, all to dance, but they're all really dicks about it and they say no and call them losers. He also asks a fourth girl, Kate, to dance, but she's a little bit nicer about it but still rejects him. He then asks this girl, Dorothy, who's sitting by herself, to dance, and it goes a little bit better than that as they start making out under the bleachers. But then the school bully and his friends come by and start teasing them, and for whatever reason, Dorothy tells them that Jeremy sexually assaulted her, even though he didn't, just because she says that, and then the bullies start beating him up, and they strip him and just like beat the shit out of him in front of the whole school, and also his nosebleeds, that'll come into play in just a second. Alright, let's jump 13 years in the future. We're now in 2001, and Shelley is on a date with some creepy dude named Jason who keeps talking in the third person, and he's super cringy. After ditching that weirdo, Shelley goes back to the morgue because she's a medical student and she's studying a body, as you do. After finding a threatening Valentine's Day card in her locker, she goes back to her body, but uh-oh, it's alive! She starts looking for the reanimated corpse, but don't worry, he finds her instead. Of course, it's not really a zombie at all, it's a living, breathing, killing machine in a Cupid mask, which begins chasing her all throughout the morgue. He eventually corners her in the body room and just starts slashing bodies until he slashes her open while she was hiding inside a bag, and then his nose bleeds. Hope you remember that from literally 30 seconds ago. And yes, only 12 minutes into this movie, they've already killed Katherine Heigl. It can only go downhill from here. We now get to catch up with Kate and Paige, who are doing a speed dating skit. How very early 2000s. They then get a call letting them know that Shelley is dead, and they all go to the funeral. At the funeral, Kate meets up with her on-again, off-again alcoholic boyfriend, who's trying to stop drinking so he can win her back. Kate and Paige also reunite with Lily and Dorothy, and they're all questioned by a detective named Leon Vaughn. They admit to Vaughn that they haven't seen Shelley in many years, but Vaughn shows them some cards that were signed JM that were apparently sent to Shelley's relatives. So anyway, let's set up some characters to be killed later. We go to Dorothy's house where her new boyfriend Campbell shows up and ends up moving in with her because he lost his old apartment. It's also shown that Dorothy's having conflict with her dad as well as her new stepmom, which is completely fucking pointless because we literally never, at any point, see these characters again in the entire movie, nor at any point are they ever mentioned ever again. Back at Kate's place, she's taken a shower up until when her water goes out. She walks outside her apartment in a towel for whatever reason because she hears something going on with the elevator, and she finds a Cupid mask lodged in it. She also gets hit on by her creepy neighbor Gary, who she calls Scary. Get it? Because it rhymes, kinda. Scary Gary, get it? We now go to Lily and Paige, who are hanging out, and Lily gets a note signed JM, who they don't even remember who that was, even though the detective just mentioned it yesterday, as well as a box of chocolates. But it's no normal box of chocolates. Oh no, this box of chocolates has maggots in it. Yeah, that's nasty, ain't it? So then the girls and also Campbell all go to this art exhibit hosted by Lily's artsy boyfriend Max. So Lily's making out with Max in the art exhibit until some girl who Max invited tries to join in, but Lily's not feeling it and then she breaks up with him. She then gets lost in the art exhibit until she takes a motherfucking arrow in the chest, and then a second one, and then finally a third one, which sends her careening off the balcony into a conveniently placed dumpster below. Meanwhile, though, Dorothy finds Campbell, who's being harassed by this crazy lady named Ruthie, who claims that Campbell scammed her. The next day, the three girls meet up with the detective. They don't know where Lily is, but they figure she just went to LA for her job. The detective shows them some more cards, and one of them is signed Jeremy Melton, and they're like, oh shit, JM, we just now put that together, even though we could have already done it multiple times. It's Jeremy Melton. Oh my god, he's gonna kill us all, and whatever the fuck. Basically, Dorothy's saying that, and Kate and Paige are like, well, why would he do that? He sexually assaulted you. And Dorothy's like, JK lol, he didn't actually sexually assault me. I ruined his life, because she doesn't even give a real reason. She does not give a real reason to why she ruined his life. She was like, oh, well, the bully saw me and I couldn't be seen with him, so I had to sell him out as being a sexual predator and get him expelled because I'm an awful person. And they both just shrug it off, like, oh, whatever, it was a long time ago. Like, no, fuck you guys. So either later that night or the next day or whatever, they try to give more info about Melton to the detective, who questions all their boyfriends and questions whether either Adam or Campbell could have had plastic surgery. This causes both Kate and Dorothy to leave, but the detective holds Paige back because he thinks there's some sexual tension between them, which Paige denies, and there's really no point to this scene. It's not a plot point that's ever brought up again, except for like 5 minutes later and just barely. It's literally just here to convey to you that every single character in this movie is just the worst. So now I think it's the next day, and the killer enters Kate's apartment to find the creepy guy Gary looking for her underwear. He deals with Gary accordingly by burning him with a hot iron and then beating him to death with it. Kate also conveniently meets up with Adam outside her apartment, and she gives him an IOU for fun sexy time for Valentine's Day. Oh yeah, today's Valentine's Day, by the way. Kate then goes back into her apartment and Paige is already there, and also there's no body. I guess is a way to convey to you that maybe Denise Richards is the killer, even though it's been completely obvious who the killer actually is, and it's just another way to try to throw you off the scent of a very obvious upcoming plot twist. So anyway, back at Dorothy's house, her and Campbell have sex, and then he comes early, so that's unfortunate. And then he has to go to work, and he's downstairs, and he's trying to get some money from some people he scammed, I guess, in his account, and it's not working out, and Dorothy calls him, and she's like, hey, can you check the pilot light? All the hot water went out. And he's like, oh, you fucking bitch, whatever. So he goes down to the fucking basement, and he turns the pilot light back on, and then guess who's behind him? Oh, yep, it's Cupid Man, and stabs him in the back of the head with an axe. Alright, so Valentine's Day night, and Dorothy's having a big Valentine's Day party, only she's pissed about it because Campbell's not there, and she thinks that he dumped her. Alright, so this following scene is just really confusing and also awful. So Paige meets up with this dude Brian, who she's apparently trying to fuck, and they go upstairs, and he takes his pants off, you know, because that's why she brought him here, because she wants to fuck him. So in response to that, she ties him to the bed and puts a blindfold on him, and then pours hot wax on his dick, and then just leaves him there. Because why? Like, why? Actually, why? I'm so confused, and holy fuck, this character is awful. So that lady Ruthie then shows up and confronts Dorothy again and tells her that basically she used to be Campbell's ex-girlfriend as well, and he stole a bunch of shit from her, and now he's doing the same thing to Dorothy. Kate also meets Lily's ex-boyfriend Max, who tells her that Lily's not actually in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, Ruthie, who somehow snuck back in after being escorted out, goes and steals the Rolex that Dorothy bought for Campbell, because okay, and then she's exploring the house, and then the killer walks in having killed a maid, maid, and she knocks out the killer and is able to run into the other room, but then he throws her through a glass bathroom window, and actually, this is a decent kill, probably the most brutal in the whole movie. He takes her by the head and just puts her throat first through a glass shard. It's pretty brutal. So Dorothy's obviously already not having a fun time, and now Kate isn't either, because turns out Adam's been drinking again. And now, Denise Richards in a hot tub! Yay! Because that's the whole selling point of this movie, I guess. It doesn't last for too long though, as she's soon attacked by the killer and then locked in said hot tub, and then he starts drilling through the glass thing he put over it and gets her in the shoulder, and then he throws the drill in there, which electrocutes her to death. And honestly, good, because holy fuck, what an awful character. So meanwhile, Dorothy and Kate start having a fight, and Dorothy's kind of just out of her mind, saying that Kate is jealous because Dorothy finally found a hot boyfriend, even though she used to be the fat girl or whatever the fuck. Kate then goes outside and phones the detective, but she hears his phone ringing, and she goes down to a pond and finds the IOU note that she gave to Adam, oh, and also the detective's head. She goes back into the house and finds Adam, who wants to dance with her. Does that sound familiar from like 10 minutes ago? So they start dancing, and Adam tells her that he loves her, and then she knees him in the dick, as you do. He then starts chasing her throughout the house, and eventually she actually makes a smart move and gets a gun. Good job. Eventually though, the killer springs out at her and they both fall down some stairs. The killer's starting to get up though, and then the killer's shot multiple times by Adam. Oh, it wasn't Adam. Okay. Yeah, that's right, bitch. Turns out it was Dorothy was the killer the whole time. Well, I guess Adam really wasn't Jeremy Melton in disguise. Yeah, I know. So Adam and Kate are waiting for the police, and Adam's like, I love you, Kate, and Kate's like, I love you too, Adam, and Adam's like, I always have loved you. And then his nose bleeds, and it drips on Kate, and she just completely nose-sells it. Nose-sells it, gets it? And then it's like, oh shit, he really is Jeremy Melton, and he framed Dorothy, and he got away with it. And you know what? Fuck Dorothy. Honestly, good. Happy ending in my book. So I'm really confused as to what the message of this movie was. If the message was anything else than everybody in this movie was awful, then I'm confused. Because everybody in this movie, except Kate kinda, was awful. Like, Paige was just the worst. The worst, most confusing fucking character I've ever seen. Just terrible for no reason. Dorothy was a crazy person, not to mention a complete fucking psychopath, and she deserved to get framed. And obviously, you know, did some of these girls deserve to die? No. But like, Adam/Jeremy got screwed over by all of them, and I mean, like, they deserve it, to be honest. They kind of deserve it. Like, how was he supposed to be the bad guy? He was very much sympathetic, and in a lot of ways, especially with Dorothy, he was fucking justified. And I hope you understand why now the director apologized for this movie, because it really wasn't good. Again, to reiterate from earlier, they tried to make a movie that Scream made fun of, post-Scream. And guess what? It didn't fucking work. But in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, is this movie worth your time just for the meme? Well, no. Not really, no. It's just bad, and the characters are bad, and it's frustrating. I guess it's worth it for Denise Richards in a hot tub, and seeing her awful character get murdered, I guess, but honestly, you're just better off watching something else. You're better off watching a good bad movie, one that's actually fun, and that's what we're gonna do next week as we take a look back at the 1990 version of Captain America. God help us all. But ladies and gentlemen, happy Valentine's Day. That was my review of Valentine. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I did, but I hope you did. And that's it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, be sure to like it. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, they're all in the description down below. Thank you to all 62 of my patrons, who are also named in the description down below. With all that being said, though, my name is Noah Taft. This has been my review of Valentine 2001, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.